Hello everyone and welcome to another double page scrapbook layout that I'm going to create on camera with you today. And this one is a little bit special because the creative design team and some special guests are celebrating Julie Carrier's 10K subscription on YouTube. And we are all going to scrapbook one of her layouts. We don't know what everybody is choosing. I've chose one. I'm going to bring that in a moment to show you what I'm going to create today. But the creative design team girls all decided that we would all use this photo for our pages. So this one here is when we were all together on Vancouver Island at the Butchart Gardens, and we were in the Japanese section, and we got this great photo taken of us on the little red bridge across here, and then we're all choosing whatever photos we want to support this one photo here. So this was so much fun walking down into this section. It was so peaceful and beautiful, and I've decided I want to do a double page spread for this. The Butchart Gardens were just absolutely beautiful. I could probably do a whole entire album just on them. So I'm going to take my inspiration from this layout here, and I will link to that video in the description below, as well as a playlist for all of the videos that we are doing. Make sure you keep watching as the week and a few days after unfolds, because there are some special people that are going to help celebrate Julie's wonderful achievement of 10K subscribers. So you can see I've got a double page layout here. I've got a large photo on this side. Instead of having a banner swag here, which I could put the title of Japanese Gardens, I've decided to somewhat replicate this by a series of 3 photos. Now, these have all been printed in a collage and trimmed down. I'm not going to trim those apart to make them into a little swag because I don't really want them on their sides. I just want to keep the linear look here. And on Julie's layout, she has 3 photos coming down the side here, but I actually have 4 that I want to use today. So I am stretching that across the double page spread a little bit. I am going to use this section here to put a little journaling spot on, and then I am going to also do some strips. Now, Julie has done some ink blending and all sorts of beautiful things on this, and I'm not sure I'm going to go down that path, but I'm going to keep this off to the side here for inspiration and bring in the papers that I'm thinking of using. There's a lot of yellows and greens in here. I don't want to put too much yellow with this because I think it will take over. So I'm thinking just greens for a base. So I'm going to bring in the Season of Green and Gold paper. Now, this was an online release some time ago, and I think the papers are still available. I know the Vellum packet is still available. Beautiful soft vellums here that I have used several times from this trip. But I think I'm going to just concentrate on the solid papers today. And I just ordered another pack of the Vellum because it's so pretty. I know it's in the last chance section and I don't want to miss out on another pack of this. So I'm having a look at what I think is going to work with my photos here to make them stand out. You can see when I put a darker green behind here, they really do pop. And then I've got another piece. This has been cut up to use for some die cutting. I really love how it looks with that one. So I like those 2 papers. I'm just going to scoot that off to the side. I also like this heart sort of design, sort of in the shape of leaves. So I might bring that one in as well. I don't think I'm going to use any of this gold foil piece. I've got another sheet of this one that I can use. Maybe I'll do some more die cutting with this. I know that I've done that several times with this collection on these pages throughout this album. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a rough fit with what I've got here and see what I like the look of. So I'm thinking that with the strips that Julie has got coming all the way across here, and then she's got a smaller one here, leaving a little bit of an edge here where she's been able to do some ink blending. But I am thinking that I might use this one to come across to replicate that. I'm going to put this over here so you can see how I'm doing this. This could be about a 3-inch rectangle. I might make mine a little bit larger than that because I sort of want to frame this photo here. I haven't used any of this paper at all as yet, so maybe I can overlap with this one and then have these underneath. Now, this is a little bit busy up against here, so I might have to double mat these ones in this green here, or I can bring in probably some Mossy Meadow cardstock to double mat them. So I do have some of this in a two-tone cardstock because it came in a kit and I actually didn't use that. Very excited because On Stage has just happened and there's going to be more two-tone available for everybody very, very soon. The annual catalogue is going to release in May, and being able to buy single packs of certain colours, I think I'm really looking forward to, because I'll be able to buy an entire pack of this Mossy Meadow. It's a little bit like pine from close to my heart. So I'll just bring a piece of pine in. You can see this is a little bit greener. This one does have a little bit of, I suppose, a yellow tinge to it, but I'm looking forward to being able to buy a whole pack of Mossy Meadow. It's one of my favourite colours because that's my very last full sheet of pine. So I'm thinking I might do this with my double matting and use this one. And then do I want this bit at the bottom or this bit at the top? Sometimes it's good to have the heavier pieces or the heavier patterns at the bottom of the layout. So the hearts would be the strip, and then this would be the bottom section, which would then go across here, and that will be a base for what I'm going to do for my little journaling here. I'm going to make a little interactive piece for the journaling. So I think this is what I'm going to land on. I don't think I'm going to bring these ones in at all, especially with that. It just makes it a little bit too busy, and I really want to use this colorway here because it's got some light and shade on it with the little white treatments in here. I suppose these are supposed to be like Christmas berries, but nobody is really going to know that this comes from a Christmas pack once I've finished doing all the cutting and laying this out. I've got my photos adhered down and the strips put on here. So these ones here are 4 inches by 12 inches, and these ones I cut at 5 by 12 and then just cut an inch off the end of this one to replicate what Julie had done. Now she had some zip strips going along here, and I was thinking I was just going to leave this just like that, but I've decided I want to dress that up a little bit. Now the other side of this textured paper has a gorgeous gold foil print and it's absolutely beautiful. Now I had a bit of a weird offcut from when I trimmed that piece down, so I have just cut some 1/4 inch strips that I am going to be able to stretch out to put across this area here, and I think that is going to finish it off nicely. So obviously I'll trim this one down and I've got enough left over to put over on the right side. So that's just there for a visual at the moment. And then on her layout here, she has a journaling spot here that she has done. So this piece here technically didn't go all the way across. It was just an 11-inch piece here, and then that 1-inch offcut piece is on this side here. But I have decided that I wanted that to carry right across the 2-page spread. So for my journaling, I'm going to create a little pocket with the Grow with Love dies. I use this quite a lot just for these little circles, but I've never made the actual pocket. So this is the die here that I'm going to make the pocket out of. It cuts all the way around the outside and then it scores at the middle bit, so it's easy to fold over, and I think that'll look quite nice on there for me to put a little journaling card in here. So then I had to choose what I was going to make this out of. Now if I put another piece of cardstock here, because this is quite heavy, so I'm thinking the graceful greenery that coordinates with this paper pack in the vellum might work. So I can choose whether or not I want to use this as my little pocket. And this one here, now I have 2 sheets of this still, and you can cut these sprigs out with the dies, but I've been waiting till I get to Alaska to actually use this one, to do that on those pages. And then I thought it might be fun to have a little pocket with these greenery items and then use those as my little decorative pieces, because I do have another sheet of that. So I've got quite a few things to show you now because we had a big thunderstorm roll through. So I wanted to get the layout worked on and then do the recording when that had stopped. So I've gone ahead and I've cut my title, not a very original title, and I've used the Alphabet Alamo dies and this paper, which is the other side of this textured green here, because I thought with the cutout with the really fine letter dies, it sort of looks a little bit like origami paper. So that is going to go up here, and then I'm going to tuck some of these little elements in and around it. Now I think I'm going to bring my title down a bit because it sort of looks like it's floating a bit. So I'm just going to ground it at the top of this photo, and I have cut a whole heap of these little vellum pieces out using this sheet here, the same one that I cut my little envelope out of, and I'm going to assemble that on camera with you. And I've used the Golden Greenery stamp set. I haven't used the stamp set, I've used the dies. So they coordinate with the vellum and the pattern papers. And I've also cut some of these ones here out of this brushed gold foil paper here. So I think it might be nice to introduce some of those in and around there. I do love that these papers, the vellum and the stamp set all coordinate with those dies that are in here. So I'm just going to fiddle around with this a little bit and do some tucking. Now you can see I have got as much as I can possibly get out of those vellum pieces. I cut around and I get some full pieces, but I also get some that are on the edge, and I still die cut them because, as you can see, you can tuck those in and around these pieces here. Nobody needs to know that that isn't a full piece. So there's another little sprig there, and then I might put two of these coming around here. And I'm thinking of having some of this gold in the background a little bit. I need to push out some of these elements. It really is a gorgeous die, and I know this was released as a sort of a Christmas style release. I really love all of this, and it's really coming in handy for my travel photos. But this gold piece here is making the vellum pieces stand out a little bit. I do want to cover this up a bit because it's going to take over if there's too much gold on the page. And this is my little envelope that I've got here, and I've got some more of these die cut pieces to put down. So you can see that it makes a little pocket, which is perfect if you are a gardener and you want to gift some seeds and put them onto a card. That will work really well. So this is this large die here. Now I positioned it so that it would cut with this as the centerpiece, but I'm actually going to turn it all over and have it like this so that I can have a little fastening here that looks like a fastening, and I'm going to weave some gold thread through that, and then my journaling card is going to go this way. I need to assemble that, and I'm just going to use the Stampin' Seal Plus here to do that. Now the other thing that I've cut out are quite a few of these elements here. So I have stacked 3 of these circles, 3 or 4 of these circles on top of each other, and then I've done the same thing with these little ones here so that when I adhere it, hopefully I will be able to wind some thread around that because there's going to be a little bit of a gap here. So we'll see if that works in practice. So the first pieces that I want to adhere together are these strips here, and because it is quite a thick vellum, the adhesive isn't going to show, but I'm just going to do this on top of my silicone mat, and I might have to move these in just a little bit with my finger so that the adhesive is not on the outside of that closing. So these 2 pieces are going to fold over, and I don't want to flatten it all the way out, and the die actually puts the score marks on there. It was a little bit hard to see with the vellum to see where the score lines were, so it's probably a good idea if you're using vellum or something like that to run the die through twice. And then this piece is going to fold over that way, so I can put some adhesive on the bottom edge of that. Just fold in that little bit of excess. And then this is going to be my journal card that is going to slide in here, and I will cut a slit in my page protector so that I can pull that piece out. Now let's see if this is going to work. I'm going to need some glue to adhere to this, and then I'm going to have to put a block on top of that to make sure that it adheres. So it's probably easier to put the glue onto the actual vellum piece and then put this piece over top. So I'm just going to hold that for a little bit to make sure that it adheres. So this would be how it would normally work. You would put this one down a little bit further and then this one on the top, and then wind your thread around them. But because I'm going to be leaving this open, I've put that at the top there a little bit. and I've got a little bit of a gap, but I want to make sure that that is nice and secure before I start winding thread around it. So while that is adhering, I think what I'll do is just bring this back in so I can keep positioning these pieces that I've got. So this is where my envelope is going to go, on a little bit of an angle, and to bring the gold in onto the right page, I'm going to put one of these coming out from the bottom of this envelope. I'll put a couple of these sprigs as well, and they can go over the top of that element there, over the photo. Now I'm trying to find another one. This one, they're all sort of cut off at the edge. I might have to cheat a little bit. Maybe I'll just put this one under here, or I can get creative with my scissors, and I am just going to cut down into this piece and then around and make this one just a little bit smaller. I don't think anyone's really going to notice that I've cut away this section here. I'm going to cut that bit off as well. I think that looks pretty good. And this piece can come down like that. And I really love how that looks. And then all these extra ones I can just keep for another project. So what I like to do when I've got everything sort of laid out like this, I can remove all the backing of my dimensionals here and just adhere those over top, and then I can put liquid glue behind these pieces. So I quite liked the positioning of this. I just need to make sure that I've got this nice and straight, and then I'm going to lift these up and put adhesive underneath these pieces. Well, this one doesn't have any dimensional that has grabbed hold of that, so I can just scooch that in myself. And the rest here, that one hasn't either. So it's just a case of lifting this up and putting the pieces down. This one has some dimensionals behind it, so I can just pick that up and put the glue on certain areas of this. I don't have to get all of them. This Belly Art glue is really good, so that is going to be enough for that. And then do the same thing for this side. I'm going to glue this piece down and then position these over top. So I've pretty much got all of my pieces down. I just need to trim off the overhang here. And while I'm doing that, I just want to quickly talk to you about the Creative Design Team membership group. We have a private membership group where we go a lot further in depth in what we show you on YouTube. We are fairly technique based, but we also provide sketches as well. We have creative classes each week, and they are an in-depth view to making scrapbook layouts and cards. And we have a handout that goes with that as well. And our videos are all pre-recorded, so they're not live videos. You can pause whenever you like. You follow along with what we're doing. And of course, with the handout, you can print the handout out and take it with you if you want to work at it on a retreat or something like that. So those creative classes come to you every week. And we also have tip videos. So if you're liking what you see the Creative Design Team bring you on YouTube, and you want to join our membership so you can see what else that we provide exclusively for our members. We don't post that content anywhere else. I will put a link to the registration below. It is open just for a short time, but if you've been thinking about signing up, now is the time. We would love to have you. So you can see I have just been auditioning some dots, so I'm a little bit in two minds. I don't know whether to go with these gold textured adhesive back dots. They really do match the brushed gold. I might want something a little bit more subtle. So I've got these opal rounds assortment that have a little bit of gold there. So I think what I'm going to have to do is actually just put one on the page, and then I can decide whether or not that will stand out enough, or if I need to use the gold textured dots. I think I'm going to have to use the gold textured dots. These ones are just going to get a little bit lost on the pattern paper. So it's always good just to audition one, not press it down too much, and then you can come in and add more. So I'm going to put some of those around. You'll see that in the close-up photos that I will post on my Instagram account and also on my Facebook page and on the CDT Facebook page as well. So you can see with this thread, this is what you would do if you had another one adhered here, and you could wind it around both of these fastenings. You need to put put this down a little bit further than what I have done, but I am just going to wind this around and leave it dangling a little bit. And I'm just thinking I may need to put a little bit of adhesive under here. I'm just going to squirt a little bit of glue. This glue dries clear, but I can get my nozzle in underneath here and just put a little bit on each side, because I don't want the gold thread to come away once I slide this into a memory protector. Now have a little bit down, and then I am just going to wind this around. So I haven't actually seen anybody use this before. And when I was looking at this die, I knew what the larger circles were for, but I sort of worked out that these ones you could stack up so that you can wind thread around underneath there, because you do need a little bit of separation for that to happen. But I would recommend squirting a little bit of glue down there so that it doesn't come away, especially if you're using it for a scrapbook layout. I think that has worked really well. So now I just need to adhere it to my page here, and I'm going to be fairly generous with my adhesive because this is an interactive element and I don't want it to become loose. So that is going to go here, and I love that it has these sprigs here just to land on, and I'm just going to let that gold thread be loose. I'm purposefully leaving one strand longer than the other. And then I've got my little journal strip that I'm going to put in here. I'm going to do a whole heap of typing up of all my journaling from this trip in one go, because I'm going to use the clear shipping labels and I want to get the most that I can out of one sheet of those when it comes to doing my journaling, rather than doing it as I go and having awkward little cuts and then I won't be able to feed it through the printer. So I've loved putting this page together. Julie did all the hard work for me with the design and where I was going to place everything. I think it's worked out really well for these photos. I'm just going to quickly bring in Julie's piece here. Now, I didn't actually do these banner element up here, but I've got these leaves coming out and that sort of fills that little gap here. My title is at the top because I knew I wouldn't be able to put that whole entire title in a pennant format, but this pennant format is represented by this little 3 series of photos, and instead of having just one strip of photos, I have 2. I have matted that onto the Mossy Meadow just to separate it from the pattern papers that I've got here. And then I've got my journaling spot here with this cute as little envelope. I don't know why it's taken me so long to use these. I think this will become a staple in card making and scrapbooking for me. And then just that little touch of gold foil printed paper where the zip strip is here enabled me to bring in these gorgeous brushed gold elements, and they really help lift these vellum pieces that have been die cut. They were getting a little bit lost straight up against the pattern paper. I'm just going to bring this up a little bit closer to camera. Hopefully it's focusing so that you can see how the gold foil here with the leaves really brings the gold foil out in these delicate letters. I love how this has come out, and now I have another layout done for this album. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to look at the description below this video and click on more so that you can check out the playlist for everybody that is participating in Julie's 10K celebration. Erin's video has already gone up, but there will be more coming over the next few days. So I hope you enjoy what we're bringing to you. Thank you so much for watching. Happy crafting, everyone, and bye for now.